The fear of this makes you a bad photographer or stops you from achieving your true potential and goals. And let's break this down because this is important. I put up a poll recently on the YouTube. Gosh, I sound old. On the YouTube, I put up a poll and I let people vote as to why it is they're not currently becoming a pro photographer for those who want to. Now, I kind of knew what the answer was going to be because I've been in that position. I've had big jobs. I've had small jobs. I've done it. I've had quite an eventful life. I've managed to see most walks of life throughout my career. And I had fears of becoming a photographer. I come from a working class background. My dad worked in a factory. My mum stayed at home. We didn't have a lot. And I think that's important to mention, not because, oh, poor me, because no, I was born in the UK, incredibly privileged. Like postcode lottery, I won. But it's important to know that I didn't come from lots of money because these things, they affect your choices and your psychology of choices. But I'm going to try and be as neutral as I can here. Now, from the poll, the two things that came up as to why people were failing to become a pro were, number one, the fear of leaving their day job. And number two, not knowing how to market. Now, number two, I can fix you quite easily. I have a Marketing 101 course. It's a digital video download. I'll pop a link below. You get that, and it tells you exactly what I do every week on my Marketing Monday. You don't have to do it on Monday. I just do that because it alliterates, and I'm simple and I like alliteration. But go and watch that. It'll tell you what to do. And here's the important thing. Don't do it once and go, it didn't work. Do it for 6 months. It will work. Just keep doing it. You have to keep doing it. If your work is good enough, it will work. And if your work's good enough, do it for 6 months. You'll find out. It's a real good test. Nobody wants to buy it after you've done that marketing. Go work on your photography. But let's focus on the one we can fix within a short video. There are two reasons why people are scared of leaving their jobs, generally speaking, grossly speaking. We'll start with the first one. Assume you're a young single person. You earn 30 grand, 20 grand, not a lot of money. You've not got loads of money coming in. You've got a salary, but it's secure, or at least you think it's secure. Now, I've worked in big companies before, and I've had the call from the boss and gone, Scott, by lunchtime, remove £250,000 of salary from the roster. Here's everyone below you. Here's their annual salary. Get firing. I've had that meeting. None of the people, I'm sorry to these people, none of the people I spoke to knew this was coming. Some of them had just taken out mortgages. Some of them had literally just blown their paycheck. They didn't know their job was about to go. And I saw it again during lockdown. People put on this, not gardening leave, there was a leave people got. You can take your time off work. You're not working, but you get paid. And they all loved it. None of them seemed to realise that once the company realised they could function without them, they didn't have a job to go back to. They didn't get a job when they got back. They thought they had a job. They thought they had security. For these people out there, look at what security you actually have. Now, let me tell you about my security as a sole trader and as someone who owns a limited company. My YouTube channel is a limited company. Me, the artist, the photographer, sole trader. I know how many months I can go without working today. If I stop working today, I know exactly how long, it's actually in years at the moment, I can go until I need to do another job, until I need to make another YouTube video. I know how long that is. If the market changes, if something happens, I can start battening down the hatches. I can start cancelling subscriptions because I can see the iceberg coming toward me. When you're in a 9-to-5 job, you just turn up to work, do your job, go home, paycheck's going to come. You don't have that same sight. You can't see what the owner of the company sees. You might be sitting there going, yeah, I'm about to buy a new car. And the owner of the company's going, we're about to go bankrupt. But you don't know that. So there's this false security. You feel secure, but are you really? I feel, having done both sides of this coin, far more secure in my work now. Not because I've got any control over my paychecks coming in, but I have control of knowing when they're going to stop. I have control of knowing when bad times are coming, and I have control of knowing when to save. And this is key. Now, for anyone wanting to do this, go and also Google, don't do it now, you'll ruin the algorithm, we'll get a dip, but go and Google Profit First. It will help you massively with this. It's great. I love it. Okay, now the more difficult, I actually think that's the easiest one to leave your job for. I think that's the easiest way to go into it. You're not making big money anyway. You can always go back. Nothing says once you've done this, you can't go back. If it doesn't work, you can go back. Get some savings. This is not financial advice, but get some savings before you do it. Now, the other scenario, you're married, you've got 3 kids, you're mortgaged up to the eyeballs. You make 100 grand a year. Your partner makes 100 grand a year, but you're spending 150 grand a year. So you can't lose your whole salary. This is the tricky one. This is the hard one. How do you get out of this? You've both got new cars on finance. Your kids go to a private, I don't know. You've got money coming out of the wahoos. It is not a good time for you to leave your job at the moment. Now, this, bear with me, it comes back round again. What you need to be doing is asking yourself, what is it that makes you happy? Is it the money and the lifestyle? I also, as well as being skint, had a very high paying job. I loved it for a bit, and then I was like, I've bought all the tailored suits I could ever need. I have a nice apartment, I have a cleaner, I have a driver. What more is there for me? And I suddenly realized that actually working this hard for this much money wasn't for me. But some people love that lifestyle. They can't drive an old car. They can't live in a smaller house. They can't wear non-designer clothes. For some people, they can't give up those things. But if I was in that position and I was single, let's start with there, big salary, got all this stuff, cut down your overheads. I live on £1,200 a month. And yes, I have lots of things I don't have to pay out for. You know, I don't have all of these extra expenses because I cut them out. I don't spend big. I live on the bare minimum. And part of that means that every time I do a big job, I can go, oh, just made 2 years' salary there. And that's nice. That makes me feel comfortable. And for me, and again, not financial advice, I am happier when I know that I don't have to worry about money. I'm not happier when I have money to spend on things. Personally, I'm happier when I don't have to worry about it. I'm happier when I go, there's no work for the next 6 months because there's another pandemic. That's cool. That makes me happier not having to worry than going, just bought a new Mercedes-Benz. How cool do I look? And I have been that guy as well. I have bought all the fancy stuff. And I didn't realise it didn't make me happy until I tried the other way of life. Now, I've also, at one point, I paid myself £800 a month. And that was not fun. That was too frugal. That was me going like, I can't afford chewing gum. But you find the number, you find what works for you, and you start cutting down. You don't need a brand new Audi, BMW, Mercedes. You don't need a 10-bedroom house. You don't need lots of things. You don't need the premium gym membership. I don't even have gym membership. I train in the studio. I bought some weights. Like, there's so many ways you can do this. And this is what it comes to. And we'll get to the family in a bit. It comes to working out what makes you happy. Would you be happier being a photographer and living more frugally? Or would you be happy not being a photographer, working the job you don't like and having lots of money? I can't answer that for you. Everybody is different. Now, of course, you can be the photographer and have loads of money. I probably should be paying myself more at this stage of my career. But because I'm not unhappy having how much money I currently pay myself out of my business, I'm cool with that. Like, save it. Save it for the rainy days. I don't know what the future holds. And by spending more money now, I won't increase my personal happiness. But by saving it, I will. Every time I look at how many years of salary I've got saved, it makes me feel good. Every time I put money in my pension pot, it makes me feel good. Every time I don't have to worry, it makes me feel good. And of course, I can take more money when I need it. If I want to go and buy something big, a luxury item, which I mean, I don't. I think it's worth noting, like, there's so many different ways to live. This is not like a one size fits all. There's so many ways to live. So have a real bit of soul searching there. Maybe have a go. Have a go. Limit yourself financially and see whether you lose any joy in your life. If you do, yeah, stick with that big job. Because it might be 10 years before you make that salary again. It took me 10 years before I made my big salary again in photography. So 10 years of misery might not be worth it for you. But for me, I enjoyed every minute of it. Say you enjoy it though, you like that cutback, but you've got a partner. You need to convince them that you need to cut back as well. This is where it gets really complicated, and I do not envy you. You've got children. You've got all of this lifestyle. It's not just you anymore. It's not just you going, well, I'm willing to take the hit. Everybody's got to take the hit in this instance. Now, perhaps if you're so unhappy in your life that you being happier for everyone around you will be worth that sacrifice for them. They'll be like, yeah, sure, we'll get rid of the BMWs and Mercedes and go and drive a Kia, which is what I drive. Super cheap cars, very good. We'll go and do that. But if you're going to be happier, we're all happier. We want you to be happy. But maybe, there's so many variables in this. If that's the case, brilliant. You're all in it together, and my God, you better make it work, because they'll just put their neck on the line for you. But what if they don't? What if they're like, no, I don't want to lose my lifestyle because you want to go and pursue this hobby. I don't want to lose all of this fancy stuff we've got just because you're having a bit of a midlife crisis and you think you want to be an artist? Absolutely not. I don't have an answer for you. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below on this. I don't have an answer for you, and I'm really sorry that you're in that position. It's hard, and you have to do so many things in life that are not just you once you have a family. I'm aware of this. I have stepchildren. I make a lot of sacrifices that I wouldn't have made without them. Now, on the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. But I sort of have an insight into that. Now, it's not the same being a stepfather as being an actual father. It's very different. And I know I don't have the same responsibility, the same financial responsibility. I mean, I know it's not the same, but I can see what it's like. I have like an insight into that world. And I don't know the answer for you. If your partner's not willing to compromise and come down in lifestyle as well whilst you do this, there's so many variables here, and it's something you need to have a real good hard think about. And I would actually recommend going to see a therapist, not because I think there's anything wrong with you, but I think it will help you work through the thought process. I come from a sporting background. We use therapists for performance enhancement. We're like, we'll go and see a therapist because if I can get a little bit more performance out of myself and get to peak performance anxiety rather than too much or too little, this could be great. If I can manage these fears during a race, this is brilliant. And I kind of see therapy like that. I see it as a performance boosting thing. So maybe it's something you could do. Maybe it's something you could talk about. But I'm afraid I don't have an answer for you. There's no quick, hard, fast in, It's just the way it is. You've got to work out a compromise and work out what it is you want from life and what it is they need from life and what they need from you and what you need from them. The whole shebang. Anyway, these are just my thoughts. These are not hard, fast rules. I hope it's been of use to you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.